I want to talk about porn addiction and your future. Coming up next on Pastor Bob Daily. Here's the question. Dear Pastor Bob, I'm addicted to pornography, pure and simple. I spend at least 2 hours every day with it. I know I'm addicted and I'm trying to quit. I've met a great woman and I'm quickly falling in love with her, but I'm afraid my pornography addiction will get in the way of our relationship. What should I do? I probably don't get any other question more than this one. What do I do with my porn addiction? And, they say that today, 85% of Christians are addicted to porn. 65% of pastors are probably addicted to porn. That's a little scary to me. And I understand the addiction. I'm not personally addicted, but I am happy I didn't grow up these days because I might be. It wasn't available when I was growing up and I never got started, which is the key, by the way. Never get started. The easiest way to break an addiction is not get started in the first place. But it is an addiction, and it's a tough addiction because it really involves that same dopamine center in your brain that cocaine and a lot of other things do. So it's a tough addiction to break, but an important one to break. We look for gratification these days, and in any way that we can, and we don't always look at the cause and effect of it. Alcoholics never think of becoming an alcoholic and everything that entails, losing family and friends, driving drunk on the highway, all those things that sometimes happen through alcohol addiction, and people never think of that when they begin to drink heavily, the cause and effect. But we need to think about the future when we do get involved in stuff that is addictive. Because the future is really where we pay the biggest price. Family, relationships, the ability to really listen to the Holy Spirit because your mind is so obsessed with other things. The distortion of sexuality is a big deal because many marriages deal with that. A husband who's been addicted to porn or presently addicted to porn has all of these images that aren't real. They aren't really, pertinent to your own relationship, and yet they begin to almost set a standard for it, which is a little scary. You will have problems with the porn addiction. You will. It's just a matter of time before it begins to eat away at your relationship. You never go into a relationship from a porn addiction without that relationship being massively affected by it. It doesn't happen. And so one of the things that people fail to think about when they're enjoying or whatever a porn addiction is that it's probably going to wipe out your future relationship a lot. You're going to have to deal with it, and the pain and the destruction that it causes later on is a big deal. You say, well, Pastor Bob, I realize that, and I realize that I have a problem and I'd really like to quit. How do I do that? I've done several podcasts on the subject, but let me just say it in a nutshell. You fight it. There are two things that you do. First of all, you fight the battle before the battle. If you wait until it's a battle in your mind, you're going to lose it probably every time. But you fight the battle before the battle. You say, I know I'm going to be, confronted by this addiction. What am I going to do with it when I am? And you make that decision beforehand, before you get there. So that when you get there, you have a strategy for taking care of it. And it might be anything, I run. Or I dismiss it like this, or I do this instead, or, whatever it might be. And the second thing is, I call it threshold thinking. Taking it captive at the threshold of your mind when it comes in. Not only do you have to have a plan, but you have to know what to do with it here. What do I do with it? You know, I always say that it's not a sin to play the trailer, but to play the movie is a whole different thing. And a lot of times you can't really stop things that come into your mind, but you don't have to play the movie. Threshold thinking. What do I do with it when it first comes in? Do I play the movie, or do I edit the trailer and dismiss it on its way? And then when that's done, I have fighting the battle before the battle. I've already decided what I'm going to do at that next point, and I engage that. You know, I don't want to oversimplify, because this is a battle. It's a huge one. But this is a good strategy. It's a good strategy for almost any addiction. The biggest thing is that you have to fight. You have to go in fighting. You have to realize that this not only affects you right now, but it's going to affect you for the rest of your life, your future relationships, everything that happens with you. So it's an important thing to begin to control. Threshold thinking, fight the battle before the battle. Work on this. God bless you. Have a great day.